Hi everyone. Right now I'm going to demonstrate how to do the homework assignment that's listed in the last lesson. We're coming over here and we're going to duplicate the best that we can. Does not have to be perfect because this is just getting into your tools in Corel. We're going to try to duplicate this apple here. Now, before we go into this, I don't want you to come over and trace anything. I want you to come over in your canvas and just with your eyes, the most important thing from this assignment is to understand layers, understand what you're going to put on top of the layer behind, the layer in front, and how to use your color picker to select the same colors that's in this color palette and get you used to using the freehand tool. So more than getting this exact, I would like you to think about those skills that I just listed. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is copy and paste the apple in your sidebar of your canvas. That way it's there, we can see it, we don't have to go back and forth to your PDF file to look at this, and you can use your color picker to get these colors that we need. So the first thing we're going to do is use the freehand tool. Come over to the settings and make sure that you do not have a outline on your line and shape settings, and then make sure that the paint bucket is set to this green, okay? Because as you can see over here, there are no outlines to this shape at all. So it's nice to have that setting completed before we even get into it. Okay, so using your freehand tool, you're going to click and drag and draw roughly the shape that you want. Double click it and start smoothing out this shape to make it look like the apple. Okay. The kids are watching the Dragons movie in the background, so sorry if you can overhear a little bit of that. Okay, and again, just playing with these arrow settings to smooth this out, double clicking to remove nodes. Okay, and it does not need to be perfect as far as mimicking the exact shape as what we're working from our reference photo. Okay, so you have a basic apple. The next thing we're going to look at is what's on top of this apple layer. Well, we have our stem and we have our leaf and we have the shadow underneath. We can create anything that we want first and then rearrange them, but for right now, I can see that this shadow is below the stem and the leaf layers. So let's just go ahead, grab our freehand tool and create a shape like that. Double click it, grab the color bucket, drag it over, and you can select that exact color. Okay, and we'll just drag it over, or you can use your arrows to move that to where you want it to be. You can also make it more condensed. Okay, the next thing, I'm gonna grab the freehand tool again. If you needed to trace something, you could come over to the image and trace right over that stem. And then you can get a more precise shape from tracing. But I really would like you to practice using your eyes and not relying on working right over someone else's image. As soon as you get into your own artwork, you're not going to have images like this to work from. So the more you can train your eye without doing that, the better. Okay, little things like this you may want to zoom into and make sure that these are nice and smooth. It's much easier to use these little arrows when you're zoomed in because you can see where they lie a lot cleaner. Okay, and then there is a question on there. It says, can you find the preset shape? There's a little circle here. For little circles like this, I don't use the freehand tool. I'll come over here, grab the ellipse tool, do the tiny circle, and that is the preset shape that is right here. It's just tilted a bit. Okay. All right, so these are the two shapes that are going to make up our stem. And what I'm going to do is grab the color bucket again, select the stem color. Oops. Actually put the top of the stem a little bit lighter. So it's top of the stem. And the stem. And then zoom in. And then we're going to line this up. Okay. Here we go. Okay. Once we have that stem done, we can drag that square around it from the selection tool and drag it over as a group. We can right click it and group it together. That's easier too to move it around. And the next thing is the leaf. So for this leaf shape, I'm going to grab our freehand. Make a leaf. And I might as well just make the center right there too while I'm at it. Okay. So double click on that center, kind of come over here, grab the color bucket again. Make that the green. Select the leaf. You can change the colors after you have the shapes created, or you can change them before. It doesn't really matter. You'll kind of come up with your own process. Sometimes if I have a really busy or intricate design that I'm working on, I will come right in with the freehand tool and just draw the whole thing roughly with the black outline with no fill, and then I'll go in and remove the outline and fill all the layers in for the appropriate colors after I'm finished. That's what I call a wireframe drawing. So if I were to do that, I'm just kind of talking while I'm doing this leaf. If I were to have done that with this example, or with this homework assignment, I should say, I would have just come in with the freehand, and it would have had the black and the no fill. Oops, no fill. And I would have, just like this, and I would have come over here and drawn the whole image roughly. Whoops. Just wireframe. So I would have come in, done the apple, done the little swoosh, done all the stem stuff, and the leaf, just like that. And all of these shapes would have had the settings for just the line and the no fill, and I would have had the entire drawing done right there. And I would say, I would call this a wireframe drawing. And then I would come in and double click each one of these and fix it all together. So that's another way that you could have done this also. It's all depending on what you're comfortable with doing. If you like to do one shape at a time, if you are trying to do something a little faster, like commercial work, this is maybe how you want to go into it. Say you're doing a character, you come in and roughly draw out where the character is going to be and the accessories are going to be, and then go in and do all of the detail work after you have kind of like a blueprint laid out. So that's kind of a more advanced thing that you can do later to make your job go faster, because in this business, time is money. So that's a nice tip to kind of keep in the back of your mind. But for this example, I am sticking to the shape by shape, just so you guys can really see how I'm creating each one of these layers. So hopefully that helps, kind of gives you two different ways to do it, depending on where you are skill level right now. Okay, so I've got this leaf and the little center light part done, whatever you want to call that. Select it, and I'm going to drag it over here, and I'm going to put it behind the stem group. Okay, and maybe scale it down a tiny bit. Turn it. Oh. Turn it a little bit. Okay. So this is not exact, but you can see how this is happening. All right, the second thing, or the last thing I should say, this back shadow, there's two ways that you can do this. One you may prefer over the other. The first way is to actually come in here and draw the shadow shape. And place it over this apple layer. Obviously you're going to want to drag this over, and Corel is helpful because when you drag it over, it will tell you when you're at the edge. Okay, but the easier way that I like to do more often, I do use both of these techniques, but the one that I would use for this is a little bit faster. You want to select this main shape, Control D for duplicate, and then I'm going to come over here and color one of those duplicated apple shapes the darker color. It happens to be the one on the top right now. I'm going to move it behind the main color. Double click the main color shape. Get the nodes and move the nodes over. Okay, or drag them over. And then that shadow layer is going to show up behind whatever I'm moving. Okay, so that is the quicker way to add a shadow in this example. But you can try both, see which one you like better. And if you do this, sometimes you'll see that it has a line. You can see that darker layer behind. I like to go in and I like to just move this darker shape line away from the outside, just so there's no sign of that darker behind this layer over here. Okay, so have fun. The more you practice this, the faster you'll get. And practice rearranging your layers, practice your eyedropper tool, and if you have any additional questions, please post in the Pickle Jar forum.